board.
So first of all, Stacey, just take me back to the UTEP game. Steph Cobb's punt return for a touchdown. What'd you see on that play? What was it like to get that first special teams touchdown out of the way?
Well, it was, first of all, Steph made a great play on the return, but there's a lot of individual efforts out there, guys blocking, giving him that space. And we knew with Steph, if you can get him a crease, you can get him some area, he's going to take advantage of it. And he certainly did that. But those are always, there's 11 men on the field that are doing their 111. And I thought there were some great individual efforts out there. Now, Rodney Robinson gets a 2-for-1. Tyler Grove goes and finishes up on the punter. Rofdahl is blocking his guy the whole time and finishes. So there was a lot of guys a part of that. But those are always exciting. It was great effort by our players, and certainly a great job by Steph.
We've seen Cyrus Habibi-Likio back there returning some kicks as well. What about him makes him ideal for that position?
Well, he's fearless, man. I mean, that off returner is a huge spot because, you obviously may get the ball kicked to you, so you got to have the ability to get the ball and get vertical. But he's a guy who makes great decisions. He's physical at the point of contact, so he gives you the best of both worlds out there with great juice. He can hit it on his own, but he's also going to be that off returner and that blocker for you. And he's not afraid to put his face on anybody. And he does a nice job as a football player. He's played a lot of special teams football with his time at Oregon, so he's well versed in it. He's got 1-2, and that's exactly what you're looking for back there as a guy who's opposite, whether that's Cobbs, whether that's Shaq, whether that's CT.
And this weekend's going to be a homecoming of sorts for you. I know it's a new staff out there, but you recruited a lot of the players that are still at Utah State. What's it going to be like now going against those guys?
Well, that's the beauty of college football. I mean, we're here at Boise, a lot of great times there, a lot of great players, spend a lot of time recruiting those kids and, behind the scenes. But really, this is all about our players and our team and how we go down there and play football. And that, we need to play our best football for 4 quarters. So I certainly appreciate my time there. Got a lot of love for those guys, but this is the business side of it. And I'll tell you what, I'm damn happy to be at Boise State. I'm excited about the players that we have here and what the work that they put in. And all we're concerned about is having a damn good practice meetings today, which we did this morning, moving on and playing our best football in Logan, Utah.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach, what did you guys miss last week with Steph Cobbs unable to go? Because it seemed like he obviously won the return duties for a reason. So what was missed? And if he's not in there this week, what would be missed?
Certainly you missed him. I mean, he's an electric return. He's got dynamic speed and playmaking ability. With injury comes opportunity, and we've got other guys that have that skill set. Shaq was back there at punt return, and really we got to do a better job of giving Shaq an opportunity to get some return space. There was some short fields there. And those are tough ones because you're in some safe situations just where they're punting the ball, especially in the second half. Early on, I thought we could have given him a little bit more room and some opportunity to get him some space. Now, that being said, they shanked 2 punts. I think anytime you're bringing some pressure and keeping people off kilter, there's a cumulative effect of that. And so we had 2 short fields there in that second quarter, which I'll take every time. That doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but when you talk about starting field position, I thought that was huge. Later on in that second half, you kind of get behind the 8 ball where they're right in that 40, 50-yard range, right? So they punted the 1 from the 35. So you don't have a lot of room right there to make things happen. But I tell you what, Shaq's more than capable. We've got to make sure when we do get a chance to shoot our shot that we block the same way we did for Steph in the UTEP game.
When you look at this Utah State offense, the way they try to spread you out and how they run it, what's the biggest challenge for your group of edge rushers?
We've got to do a great job of first of all, we've got to stop the run more consistently with our fundamentals and techniques. And we've had a great week of practice with that. And it starts with stopping the run across the board. This football team will run the football at you. They spread you out to create space for those running backs, and they got a good group of running backs. So we've got to be able to be fundamentally sound and stop the run right off the gate. That's got to be priority number 1. 2, when they're going to throw the ball around the yard like that and spread you out, you've got to be able to create havoc from a pass rush standpoint. And you got to be able to knock some footballs down too, right? And be able to change that pocket and create that mentality where you're putting people in the quarterback's lap and hurrying that time up.
How different are they when they have either quarterback in the game? Does what they want to do change much, whether it's Peasley or whether it's Bonner?
Well, they're a system offense, right? So they have a system that they're working with. There is differences between the two. Peasley's probably a little more athletic. But that being said, you'll see the Bonner kid turn and run. He's a good athlete also. They both can throw the football well. It's both a system you can tell they're getting more and more familiar with, and they have good playmakers out on the edge.
Thanks, Coach.
Stacey, I know Ron asked you about, going back to Logan, but that obviously for you and Frank is one of the side stories to this game. What would he said? I think 80% of the players he expects he'll look over on the sidelines and have a relationship with or no. I mean, for you, I know you say it's part of the business and all that, but how unique is that feeling when you're on one side and you look over and you do have a personal relationship with a lot of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through this before in the coaching profession where you end up playing or coaching and you end up on the other sideline. So I have nothing but great things to say about my time at Utah State. It was awesome. It was a great place to raise some of my family. We had a lot of great experiences there, recruited a lot of those kids, spent a lot of time with them in the meeting rooms, at my house, in their living rooms, with their parents. And I wish nothing but the best for those guys. But this is where we're at, man. And I'm happy as hell, damn happy to be here at Boise State, to be coaching with this group of men, with these players right here. And the whole focus and the goal is for us to go out and play 4 quarters of football. For me, hey, we're going into a place that happen to be a little bit more familiar with, but that has no bearing on this football game. It has everything to do with our preparation, our focus, and making sure we play 4 quarters of our best football.
To quote you, you said damn happy twice in terms of being on this side of it now. Just seeing Boise State from afar at Utah State for 5 years, and then now seeing it on this side of it, and just seeing the operation and how it works, and being as a part of this program. What have you learned? What's been impressive to you from now being on the other side of things about this Boise State program?
Well, from afar, you can see when you're inside of it, the work ethic, the brotherhood that's truly here, the attention to detail, the focus, the belief. It's just a great group of guys to be around, from a coaching staff wise, the history, the tradition, the players. But that being said, man, I have great. My time at Utah State was great. It really was. I mean, I developed as a person, as a coach. The players and the coaches and the staff, everybody was great there. So I have nothing. Again, that's part of this journey that you go through, especially if you're going to sign up to be a college football coach. So, shoot, man, I look back at our time, that 2018 season, we had an unbelievable run at Utah State. We had a lot of great times in between. But that being said, I love where I'm at here at Boise State. I like the growth that we're having. Now, sometimes those wins and losses aren't where you want them to be, and that certainly hurt. It's hard as hell when you don't get them. But that being said, the structure, and just the leadership here from everywhere down has been awesome. And you can see how it's filtered through the time here and the success here. And this is an unbelievable city. It's an unbelievable place. And I'm humbled to be here, and I'm hungry to continue to develop with what's already been created here.
Final one for me, Coach. What went wrong on the field goal? Did it come out low? Was it just blocked? Just take us through that play, which obviously ended up, maybe costing you the game.
Yeah, it's a little bit of combination of everything. It's kind of how it is. Jonah's been unbelievable this year. It was, first of all, give them credit. They made a hell of a play. I mean, the guy does a great job of getting a hand on the ball in a critical situation. We actually protected it better than we had a few more earlier in the game. We had some protection issues that we got to get cleaned up. That one was actually protected pretty dang well. So give Oklahoma State credit. They made a play right there with it. As hard as that is, Jonah's been lights out for not just this season, but last. He was lights out when we kicked again the last 2 days. So those ones hurt, man. Those ones hurt. I'll ride with Jonah Dalmas anywhere, anytime. We've got to find a way to get that done. We got to find a way to put those points through. And fortunately, in this business, sometimes you don't make those plays. You got to make those plays and find a way to finish.
So just to confirm, did it come out a little low too, though?
Again, it's a little bit lower than he normally probably hits it. That being said, give them credit, man. The guy gets up there, he gets a piece on this, we're rolling. So it's kind of a combination of both. Do you want the ball to be a little higher? Hell yeah. You do. Does he get up there and make a great play? Give him credit, where credit's due when he does that. So to me, it's a little bit of combination of both. But, it's what's wild is he hit the exact same field goal, lights out in the second quarter, exact same yard line, exact same hash. It was identical.
Thanks, Stacey.
Yep.
Will, John, and then Jay.
Stacey, was wondering what you can tell us about Devin Tompkins.
Yeah. DT, he's great kid, man, has a unique story. As far as, he's a father of 2. One of his son is has some disabilities that he has to take care of. So I respect DT as a father, first of all. Very, very much an elite competitor. He is going to grind. He's going to work. He's going to compete. He's got great twitch, great ability. Awesome kid to be around. Elite competitor, and fired up to get a chance to go against him.
You said earlier that you guys have had a good week of practice when it comes to stopping the run and working on techniques. What have you seen out of your guys this week so far?
Well, it's just been consistent work on our fundamentals and techniques. And when we do those things, we do them a high level. That's where we need to be. And we need to make sure we're doing a great job as a coaching staff of putting them in those positions, continue to develop those fundamentals and techniques, because we got a good group of players that will execute them when we do a great job of teaching them.
Thanks, Stacey.
Yeah.
Coach, playing at a 10 a.m. Mountain Time kickoff, what's the most important aspect or aspects in getting the kids ready to play earlier than most of them have ever played since they were in Pop Warner?
Yeah, it's a unique kickoff. As you know, in the Mountain West, usually it's about 10 p.m. It seems like we're kicking off on most of those games. But we practice in the morning. I think that's a huge advantage. So our guys are up. They're in here first thing in the morning every day. So for us, that's a normal cycle. I do think if you're an afternoon practice team, that's a change. You better have a plan with that. We've also mocked this thing up during camp. We went through a 10 a.m. scrimmage, during camp. So we've done that. So you're just starting that cycle early. You want to make sure you're ready to go with it. But for us, it's probably a little bit more normal just because that's what we do on a Monday through Friday in our general routine.
Does Utah State practice in the morning or the afternoon, Coach? I'm sure you still
that's
talk
a good
to people.
Question. We did both when I was there. I'm not sure what they're doing now. That's a dang good question. I don't know.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Hey, Stacey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thanks. How much did you and Frank connect at Utah State? And as you've been kind of talking about the differences between Utah State and Boise State, do you guys ever kind of look at each other and say, wow, or we did this there better, or anything kind of like that?
Well, me and Frank didn't know each other until we got, I got hired on there. He had came back from Vanderbilt probably about a month apart. We worked together for 5 years. So we connected real well. We worked together with each other in a lot of different situations. When we went to the bowl game in 2018, we were down to just a couple full-time coaches. So those type of moments always pull you together a little bit closer and a little bit tighter also. So that being said, I don't ever compare one place to another just because they're all so different, right? You want to embrace where you're at. In this business, I've worked enough places to kind of go through that I think you have to embrace where you're at. And there's certainly a lot to embrace here at Boise State. And like I said, man, my time at Utah State was great. That's a unique place. And I mean that in the most positive way. And my experience there was awesome. But being here, continue to grow as a person, as a coach, and with these traditions and the atmosphere that's here. So I don't know that there's a lot of comparison. I know that's coach speak, but just being real, guys, if my biggest concern this morning was making sure we had the best damn special teams meeting in the morning, that we went out there and practiced and had our best practice. And if I get too caught up in any of that other stuff, then it's going to affect how I'm teaching, how I'm coaching, the energy we're trying to bring to our guys. And that may sound cliche, and that's fine, but that's the way we have to live in order for us to put the best product on the field, make sure our players are put in the best situations.
I noticed, at least the portion that we were at practice today, it seems like you're pretty active with the punt returners today, and you might always be that way, but it was just the part that was open to us today. What have you seen out of that group, out of those guys so far that have taken their turn back there, and what do you try to preach at that position during a game week like this?
Right. Well, I think they've done a great job. I've talked about it before, is those are some tough decisions that are happening pretty fast. And so, like this morning, we're putting them in a bunch of unique situations, trying to get them different looks in that limited time that we have with them. So I think they've done a great job. Obviously we had the big time return, but there's so many other plays in between. There was one in the UCF game where Cobbs did a great job of pulling the coverage away. The ball bounces into the end zone. Well, that's a 20-yard change of possession right there. That's huge. That's 2 first downs. And so making sure we're dialed in every one of those little situations. You saw it in that Memphis, Mississippi State game this weekend, right? That you better be dialed in each situation because there's a lot of yardage that can change. And And so that we're heavily active. And I think all of those guys have done a great job with their time in there.
Stacy, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone have any follow-ups real quick?
I had one quick one. Stacey,
for
you
it.
mentioned, having Khalil back there on the punt returns. Was he designed just to fair catch those for his health or anything? Or it just seem like he was making early fair catches on some of those when he may have had room to run?
Yeah, we brought some pressure on the first one, and we cut a couple guys free that were getting down there, and the wind was pretty nasty out there early on. So it started floating him back. And, I think on that first time he'd been back there in a minute, I thought he made a great decision. That thing was, I tell you, that pregame was wild out there. It settled down once we really got into the game, but that wind was a factor in the first half of the game. Second half really wasn't. And so for him, I thought he made a good decision. He was pushing him back. It's a left-footed Australian punter, so that spins a little bit different. And we cut a couple guys freer than I would have liked, because if we would have got hands on those guys on the edges, I think we could have gave them a little bit of space.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for your time and good luck this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.